Hey folks, Fernando doing our video for Tomorrow Survival. Let's continue with a little bit of the topic of the previous video, which was vehicle selection, the logic behind that, and some of the kits kept handy up front in the cabin. We talked a little bit about if this is going to be especially your daily driver, some of that compromise you make in terms of practicality and capability, which you do not want to be without. But in this video, we're going to be talking about the proper kit kept in the trunk. And this is as it is. I know I've taken things out and some of this stuff probably needs updating, so let's get right to it. First thing you see is, well, you have this tray here that's keeping all of this stuff out of sight, and that is a good idea in terms of security. You don't want to have people around see that you have several bags with many with probably valuable content, so this is keeping all of that out of sight. You see my wife's umbrella. This is a pink Fulton umbrella of, I think it's, yeah, well, it's translucent, so it has that. And then this is the one I use, which is just a black IKEA umbrella, cheap but quite durable actually, so that's nice. So these two are there and come in handy every once in a while. Then you have the grocery shopping bags, kids umbrella, and the stuff itself. You have a Honda tire replace kit, with a few things in there, some of the safety triangles and some of the stuff you want to have there. And then a backpack, first aid kit, a larger backpack, and a couple things kept handy, which is a fire extinguisher, some WD-40 spray, a tire inflator, and a tire repair spray, which is something you may want to keep handy. These are quite useful at times. And then a little bit of oil in case I need to top it up a little bit more. That's a good idea. And as you see, it's all very compact. I don't have anything too large, but if you need some of these things, they're there and they can be pretty useful in an emergency. And then here I have the spare tire, and I think I have the jumper cables and a little bit more kit there. So let's take all of this out, see what's actually in each bag. Guys, the stuff that I have listed here in my book Street Survival Skills, in the chapter about car survival kits, it's basically the same stuff that I use myself. So if you haven't picked up a copy of it already, Street Survival Skills, in Amazon, I'll leave the link there below. If you're anywhere in Europe, right now it's going for a nice discount. I guess it's because of Black Friday, 12 euros. If not, for the American market is $19.95. That's as good as it's going to be getting in terms of price. If you haven't picked one up yet, go for it now. That will be my suggestion. Some of the stuff that I had there in the back, once I start pulling back those bags, a few bottles of water, and as you see, smaller bottles. These are just more handy, more compact if you have to maybe wash your hands and you don't want to be opening a larger jug. Besides, I don't have a ton of room. I have to have things as practical as possible. These little bottles, if you have to give water to someone else or carry water elsewhere, and as you see, you start using it yourself, drinking it up as time goes by, so that needs to be replaced. I have like 7 bottles there, and I have 2 larger 2-liter bottles there underneath next to the spare tire. Also, windbreaker, hat, and once I pull back those bags, I have I'm not in a cold climate area, so it's not much of a priority, but a blanket kept in the bag so to keep it clean, a jumper cable, some tools, and half a jerry can. This is metal, but it's just 10 liters instead of the 20 liters of the 5-gallon jerry can that you typically have. Doesn't seem like much, but keep in mind 2 things. This is diesel, so it stores much better, and it has a lot more range, and combined with a vehicle that has good fuel efficiency, this one goes for 44 miles per gallon, so that's quite a good distance that you can stretch with just a little bit of extra oil, which is mostly intended for a fuel, maybe an emergency, something like that, but it gives you definitely more range, and a solid good tarp. I also have, next to the spare tire, I have a couple of 2-liter water bottles and a large bag of wet wipes, industrial type, heavy duty type. In this box I keep the following. So open this up. A bit of duct tape, always handy, some cordage, solid knife. This is a Hultafors heavy duty knife. As you see, sparkling nice, but I've tested the same knife before. It's very rugged, very solid, so it's a good tough knife to have. Some gloves, duct tape, as I was saying before, water filter, and some food. It's actually, a lot of it, this is going to be expired for sure, so a lot of this needs replacing, except for the can of Spam that's going to be lasting till the end of the world, probably, literally so. But some of this stuff needs to be replaced. Doesn't look too gooey or anything, looks still pretty solid, which goes into this idea of be smart about it in the first place. There's certain foods that are pretty much okay past expiration date, like a hard candy like this is gonna be good, you know, even years later past its expiration date. Some of this, one of these collapsible respirators, I have a few in other places, but these are nice to have around, and some gum. Basically a little bit of food food and drink for emergencies. Now let's go into the actual proper bags, what we have in these. The idea with these bags is that if the car breaks down, you have two bags. You can select what is more handy, more useful for your actual needs. So if I'm with someone else, with my wife, one of my kids, whatever it is, or the entire family, we have a couple bags so as to you know, divide the stuff that we have to carry and make it more handy. The typical stuff, the stuff that I listed there and that you find in many other lists, including my website and book, lighters, some flashlights, a headlamp is always handy for walking. And as you notice, I don't keep the batteries in it because these usually leak, so I have those separately in a little box there. Hand warmers, a pen. Nothing out of the ordinary. This one is pretty empty, pretty flat, but the idea is, as I'm saying, something so as to carry a lot of this stuff that you may have to take with you. Another blanket, emergency shelter, some more wet wipes. These are handy. Keep in mind that what are the possible situations that you may be facing in in your car, a car accident, someone, you know, bleeding, dirty, someone needs cleaning. That's all important. Also, in my location, this is extremely important, having sunblock. You know, sunscreen. If you have to walk home in the middle of summer, you have the water, you have sunblock, you have sunscreen. Bug repellent as well, also important, and a small little radio in case, you know, nothing else works. AM FM radio. This is a very good idea, something you definitely want to have with you. Let's check some of the other bags, what else we have in here. It's probably going to be a little bit of a longer video, that's okay. This one is mostly full of clothes, and that's something that in my experience has been very valuable. You get caught by rain, whatever happens, you're muddy, wet, dirty, you want to have a fresh, clean set of clothes. You can clean yourself as best as you can with some of the water, some of the wet wipes, and you have a fresh change of clothes to change into. Some more tools, you know, nothing out of the ordinary, but keep in mind that I have this other one, so these are more, you know, hammer, a few screwdrivers, stuff like that. It's a handy little kit, comes in useful many times. Some bags, and then it's going to be mostly clothes, some spare bulbs, toilet paper, wet wipes, some more water in a metal container, and then, as I was saying, clothes and some more wet wipes. In this pocket here, work gloves. These are very important for certain things. If you have to, you know, pry stuff out, gloves are a good idea. An emergency whistle, matches, and a little compass. As you see, there's several. You know, there's doubling and tripling on lots of things. Wet wipes, water, another water container, metal as well here. All of these full of water, of course. Metal is nice because it doesn't get like the taste of, you know, of plastic that plastic bottles usually do. Some more gloves. And that is it for this bag. Finally, moving to the first aid kit. I have, lady hygiene stuff. One of these lights, chem lights. It's an emergency bandage. One of these cold packs, which these are very useful. Celox gauze. The Celox gauze is probably expired, but I'm pretty certain that past its expiration date, Celox is still quite good. And then a proper first aid kit with plasters, all that stuff. This cold spray, it's not all that great, but it helps a little bit. And I keep one of these chem lights already out in case I have to turn it on, so it's already handy. And that is basically it, guys. It's not something too extreme or anything like that. It's just a bunch of stuff that can be useful in some of the most common, most likely situations. Either a car accident, either something breaking down and we having to walk back home. This can be quite handy. Folks, gonna be all for now. See you in our next video. Have an awesome weekend.